Okay, thank you again everyone for joining CR Group's Power BI webinar. This webinar is being recorded so that the video will be available online and the PowerPoint slides will be available online as well. My name is David Huang. I'm a BI/CPM consultant at CR Group. And as a company, we've been partnered with Microsoft for over 25 years. So in that context, Power BI is a relatively new tool. It was first released publicly in 2015, but it's growing rapidly, and Microsoft is putting a lot of resources into this, constantly updating the tool based on user feedback. And this, we do have half an hour, and this will be somewhat fast-paced and somewhat of a teaser into the tool itself. If you are interested in more after the webinar, there will be opportunities to connect for more information or even a demo, and we'll have our contact information at the end for that. So what we'll be looking at the next 30 minutes, I will talk briefly about CR Group as a company, and we'll look at common challenges with business intelligence and how Power BI fits in to address them. The bulk of the webinar will be looking at the tool itself. I think that's what most people are interested in, and we will have a short Q&A session at the end. So CR Group was founded in 1989, so we've been in business for almost 30 years. We've been profitable every year since then, and our success stems from our people. We have a group of highly skilled business consultants and solution experts here. As for ownership, we do not rely on debt or venture capital, and that's an advantage for us because it allows us to dedicate time more than others on innovation, investing in our training, as well as building long-term relationships with our client base. Many of our clients, we start on one project, say a financial system implementation, for example, and they like working with us, and that leads to other projects. So as for our customers, we've worked with over 4,000 different clients, and that range from various size, with revenues from the millions over to the billions. And as for our team, we have I did forget to mention that we do have offices all over the world: Canada, US, India, South Africa, and Hong Kong. And we have over 70 employees across those offices with backgrounds in both business and technology. And we also are have over 600 active partners. I'm assuming you're here either for a free coffee or have thought about or have experienced some successes and challenges with Power BI. So I'll talk about what we see in the industry of business intelligence. The big challenge is multiple data sources. Unless some companies have ERP systems, others have various systems. And because data is coming from different systems, it's hard to get a complete and accurate picture of your business. You have a CRM system, you have an HR system, maybe a supply chain system, and beyond that you also have spreadsheets rolling around the organization, which makes it very difficult because people are performing their own calculations, getting their own numbers, and there's no one true view of your business. Another big challenge is having the right data for the right users at the right time. Different business users have different data needs, and there's a reliance on either a business analyst or some kind of BI expert to provide that capability to them. And especially when the business user doesn't have a lot of exposure to BI, they're trying to determine what the requirements are. It takes a few weeks to get the report. We have the report in front of them, but it requires changes, and that takes another few weeks. So all while this is happening, business priorities are changing, the business focus is changing, and the business can't wait for the data. So in order for BI to be effective, you need to have the right data, exactly as the slide says, to the right people at the right time. And when you have these challenges, user adoption suffers. On top of the two challenges that I mentioned, there's a learning curve to BI. Many users are accustomed to Excel as well. So when you can't provide provide the data in the format that your business users want in a timely fashion, they'll just revert to Excel and create their own reports. Power BI addresses those challenges. I'll speak to these points into a little bit more detail in the following slide. For now, I just want to point out that Power BI is able to connect to different data sources and combine and model them into one view. It enables everyone to visualize the data, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, but it's very easy to use and it's integrated with Excel, so it empowers the end user to create their users in a timely fashion and adopt the platform. So on that first point, don't be intimidated by this slide, it's very busy. The point I wanted to draw from this is your data is coming from all different sources. There's Excel files, you can see. There's the back-end databases of your different systems. And Power BI also, out of the box, comes with some built-in connectors to common online services, such as Google Analytics, Salesforce, and so on. So it's able to connect directly to some of the softwares that you use on the cloud. This subject is somewhat technical in nature, so I'm trying to stray away from that. But the key takeaway from that is that Power BI is able to connect to various data sources and provide a report from them, which is seamless to the end user. And you might not even, there's a lot that's available in Power BI, but even the end user can just not use all of these. They might just have an Excel file that they want to build a chart or some kind of visualization quickly. They can do that in Power BI. So even though this looks busy, Power BI is very simple. When it comes to providing the right data to the right users at the right time, in the past, and even many products today, they fall into the first and second wave of which Microsoft calls it, of business intelligence, which is a heavily reliance in the first wave on IT or in the second wave on some kind of business analyst. And like I had mentioned earlier, this causes delays and users are not able to make business decisions in a timely fashion. So what Power BI aims to be is positions itself as the third wave, which is making BI accessible to everyone in the organization. And even though there is, when it comes to more complex BI reporting, we'll need to access the help of IT, but you'll be able to see that the tool is really meant for the end user in mind. And so I just forgot to mention also a big part of this and what differentiates Power BI is its ability to collaborate. Not only are there reports that are just available, but Power BI allows users to take from different reports to personalize it into their own dashboard and as well as share it with individual users within the organization or within a group, which I'll show a little bit later. In user adoption, the tool is, the interface is an object drag and drop based. So as you can see here, each of these are called visualizations, which is just a way to display the data. So it could be a label, it could be a chart, or it could be a grid or a table. But these are just move around, drag and drop, and even building these follows the drag and drop interface. So it's very easy to use. And Excel and Power BI are both Microsoft products, so there's seamless integration between the two. Any of these visualizations that you see here you can export the data to Excel. You can even, as you can see here, there's an Analyze in Excel function where you can dump an entire data set in Excel. So for those users that are married to Excel, but you want them to access a specific data set that everyone else is seeing, you can have them analyze in Excel, and it will dump the data to an Excel file, which is pivotable. Data can also flow the other way. So there's an add-in for Excel, and within it, you can select a range of cells, or you can select a chart, and you can pin them to a dashboard in Power BI. So your Power BI dashboard could be a combination of Power BI visualizations or visualizations in Excel. So I've done a bit of talking. I'm going to now bring up the Power BI interface so you can see more from an end user perspective how to navigate and how it works. I do have a few sample dashboards, so you'll be able to see how it looks as well. This would be the first screen that you see once you've logged into Power BI. It's showing me the reports that I most recently accessed. And what I'm going to do on the left here, you can see there's a navigation bar. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Workspace. And these are the groups that I had mentioned earlier. So my workspace is your own personal space. But what you can have set up here is have certain groups where everyone in that group can see a specific set of reports. And so you can set up a group for a specific project team or a business function or a whole business department, like the finance department as an example. I created a group just for this webinar. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see this is the main view over here. I'm going to go into reports, and we'll take a look at some of the sample reports for this webinar. So let's go into the sales reports. And what I'm looking at here is a pipeline report. You can see here there's various visualizations of different types, just so you get a look and feel on how it looks and what's possible to visualize the data. There are slicers on the left that would allow me to filter the data. So if I only wanted to see, I can select Canada. And all my visualizations would update based on my filters. Like I had mentioned earlier, any of these I can go and export it to Excel. And another nice user-friendly or cool features of Power BI is you can make these visualizations interactive in the sense of, let's say for this particular report, let's say I'm only interested in projects that are in the discovery phase. I click on this, and my other visualizations update so that only the shaded ones are applicable. You can see here that of the 19 million, only this portion of it is in the discovery phase. There's also the ability to drill down if you have it set up. So within the projects in the pipeline phase, I want to drill down into more detail. I right-click, drill down, and in this particular case, I have the account owner set up, so I can see that broken down by account owner. This might be a bad example because there's only one, but if I had a larger data set, maybe I'll include additional regions into here. We can see in the discovery phase how that breaks down by account owner. And so this is a report that was built for me. In the case of, if I'm the owner of the report, I can go in and edit it, in which I am in this case. And you can see behind these visualizations, all that's really done is these are drag and drop objects that I can move around to create my own layout, fairly simple. And really how this was created is once the data is set up, it's really just a drag and drop of the field into either a dimension or a value. So in this case of a line and bar graph, you can see I have estimated revenue as the line, the count of accounts as the bar graph, and on the dimension I have months going across. And then I just click on the type of visualization I want. So very easily I can change this bar and line graph into a clustered bar graph. Or maybe, not sure how this will look, but very easily I can change that to a pie chart. So I hope that illustrates the point of empowering the end user. It's a very user-friendly tool that, and once the data is set up, the end user can, without reliance on IT or an analyst, go in and relatively easy create the visualizations that they want depending on the business questions that they have during that time, and instantly visualize the data. So I'm just going to refresh this here because I don't want to save changes to the report. And what I'm going to do now is, let's say I'm an executive and these reports are available to different people in the organization, but I don't want to know the details, so I can create my own personal dashboard. So what I'm going to do here is, let's say I want to know what's in the pipeline. I'm going to press the pin, and I want to pin this to my new dashboard, which I will call webinar. So I did that on this particular visualization, and we can go to that and we can see that this visualization in particular is saved separately in what's called a dashboard. And now let's look at some of the other reports. So here's a marketing report. Let's say we want some website and social analytics. Perhaps this is connected to Google Analytics. And similar kind of idea, there's this map visualization is new, you haven't seen on the other one. But let's say I want to take some of this and add it to my dashboard. I can do that. I can even filter. Let's say I'm only interested in North and Central America. This visualization updates and I want to pin that to my dashboard. And I select the webinar dashboard, which I just have built. And so all the reports that I have access to, in this case is in the webinar group, are listed here. And I can very quickly switch between them. And I'm just going to pin a few more different visualizations into my dashboard. And now I have what's here is my personal dashboard, pulled from various different reports that were available. And I can organize, as I mentioned, these are drag and drop. You can resize them. Right. I can even add some labels in here. I can add a text box. And as an example, the number of visits and gross sales, I think we had a filter on there for North and Central America, so maybe I just want to clarify that. And resize that. And I can, of course, I just clicked through on the tile, which brought me to the report that it was pulled from. But I can also say number of visits, what this is. I can number of visits from North America. So a lot of this is very customizable, and as you can see, it's a very simple interface to use. So I'm going to go back to my slides, and I wanted to bring, now that you had a short but quick chance to look at the tool itself, I just want to revisit some of the points that we mentioned earlier. When it comes to multiple data sources, I didn't want to show you how it was done because it's somewhat technical in nature, but the key takeaway is that you are able to have different data sources and model them together into Power BI. So perhaps you have your revenue from Dynamics GP, but your targets are in Excel. You can combine those data sources in Excel and have a visualization that shows your revenue to your target. Right data for the right users at the right time. So the tool is meant for everyone to be able to use. And as you were able to see with drag and drops of different measures and dimensions onto the screen or moving objects around, the end user, anyone can create their own personal view of what's applicable to them. When your company is able to combine data from different sources and build views that could not be previously done, as well as empowering users to create their own reports in a simple interface, you'll see successful user adoption in your BI reports. So that was a quick teaser into the Power BI and how it can be used to turn data into action into your organization. I'll open it up. We have a few minutes for questions, so I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. You can enter that into the chat box and I'll be able to see that. So we have a question here about, we're interested in more details about multiple data sources and how it can connect to Power BI, more in terms of how to get to the point of being able to see the view that we saw. So actually I'll open up the developer tool, and it really is similar to the web interface that we saw. And they did want to see, although I mentioned this was more technical in nature, they did want to see how this works in terms of getting data from various sources. But basically, I'll do a quick demo on this. I can click on Get Data, and as you can see, it can come from SQL Server, Excel, or the web. So I'll just click on this quickly to show how it can be done. Basically, I can select the data that I want, load that into Power BI. There's a decent amount of data in here, so it will take some time. I've tried to skip it just to quicken it. But what I did want to show to answer this question is to show you maybe behind the scenes on how this can be modeled. So while that's loading, another question is about the cost of Power BI. So Power BI is a very low investment costs. Actually, for free, you can have access to this tool that I have here, connect to databases and Excel files completely for free and build your visualizations. If you do decide to pay for the premium service, which would lift some of the data restrictions as well as gives you access to the cloud service so you can share different reports, that comes at a cost of $20 US per month per user. So really, this is really scalable and low cost, so you can start small and scale up per user as you go. If you're interested in maybe knowing the full cost of the projects, because of course you have to invest time in building these reports and then so on, we can schedule a follow-up call to go over that. So the data is taking some time to load, which we don't have the luxury of time here, but let's see here actually if I can open an existing file here. So in this sales dashboard that we had looked at, we can see the data sources behind this. And basically you can pull in, this is what's called tables. You have tables here with different fields of information. And this can come from any data source. So behind the scenes, you could have connection to your CRM system, Excel files, or your financial system. And you would just need to model it so Power BI knows the sales from this system corresponds to, so sales in April in this system corresponds to the target sales in April for this particular file, in an Excel file. And so I'll just show maybe some of, you can drag and drop. So for example, in here, the date corresponds, the date from this data source corresponds to the date on this data source. Okay, so we're getting close to 1:30. So I just wanted to end off by saying thank you for spending half an hour with us for this Intro to Power BI webinar. And everyone here will get a Starbucks gift card. And If you're interested in learning more about Power BI, don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact Doug Hum, who is our Director of Business Development and Marketing, for more information. If you have any questions, feel free to just send them to email to this, to him or myself. And we can even, if you think Power BI could be a leverage in your organization, we would be open to maybe even building a quick sample dashboard. If you provide us some data, we can do a sample dashboard or some kind of demo to see how Power BI would fit in with your organization. My name is David Huang, so my contact information is listed here. But yeah, do feel free to get in touch with us if anything here has intrigued you here today. And I'm right on time for half an hour, so once again, just want to thank you and say goodbye.